Hey there, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, you'll learn what a selection sort is, how to code it from scratch, and its time complexity. If you're new here, my name is Teresa. I'm a software engineer, and on this channel, I mainly post coding tutorials like this one as well as casual vlog. So, what is a selection sort? How the selection sort works is basically looking at each position in the array and then find the correct value for that position. For example, for the second position, the second smallest number is 2, so we're going to put 2 at the second position in the array. This means that the array is going to be sorted from the left to the right. Before we code this up, let's take a look at how to implement this first. First, since we have to look at each position in the array, we will need to loop through the entire array once. Second, for each position, we want to find the corresponding value to place there. So we can do this by finding the smallest number from the current position to the end of the array. Third, once we've found the smallest number, we can simply swap their position and move the smallest number to this position. We don't care if by swapping the elements, the array is going to be messed up or not because we only care about one position at a time. Now let's try writing this up in pseudocode. To get each position in the array, we're going to write down for each element, and I'm just going to call this element I. Now is to find the minimum element. We can do this by first having another variable to keep track of the minimum value. I will initialize this to the current position. Then we loop through the array starting from this position until the end of the loop to find the minimum. Inside the for loop, if the value is less than the current minimum, we'll update the value. And last is to swap the position at this position with the element at the minimum index. And that is all for our selection sort algorithm. Now let's code this up. Just like bubble sort, I'm going to code this up in Python, but as long as you understand the concept, you should be able to code this up in any language. I'll have a function called sort that accepts an array variable called r. I'm going to have another variable n, which will be set to the length of the array. Now it's the main part. First, we have to loop through the array, so I'm just going to have for I in range n, and I is going to be the index for each position. Next, we need a variable min index. I'm just going to call it min index to keep track of the minimum index, and we're going to initialize it to this position. To find the minimum value, we're going to have another for loop, and it's going to be for j in range I plus 1 until n, and we want to start from I plus 1 because we already set the minimum to this position, so we want to start comparing from the next position. Then inside this for loop, we're going to compare this value to the minimum value. So if array at j is less than array at min index, we're going to update min index to j. Once this for loop is over, it means that we've found the minimum value. So we're just going to swap the values at I and min index. So we can do this by having a temporary variable and set it to array at I, let's say. And then we set array at I to array at min index. And then we set array at min index to temp. And that is all for the code. Now let's test this out. I'm just going to pass in a random array here. And here you go, a sorted array. Now let's talk about the time complexity. So here we have a for loop n times, meaning that we're repeating everything inside of this loop n times. So this is n. Then we have another for loop inside here. This is going to repeat n minus I times, but since it's still relying on n, we're just going to say that it's n times. We have to multiply them, which gives us n squared. Therefore, the time complexity of this algorithm is going to be O(n) squared for both the best case and the worst case. The best case is also an O(n) squared because the algorithm has no mechanism of stopping the loop even if the array is sorted. Therefore, no matter what the input array is, it's going to take O(n) squared time. And that is all for this video. If you like this video, you might be interested in this playlist of sorting algorithm that I've created. Please stay tuned for the next one in the series. See you again next week. Bye!